Let's jump into love-hate then.
That's a better move by Jay right there.
Love-hate running backs is where we kick things off. And Tony Pollard leads the love list because he's got the Giants defense. Listen, it's been a disappointing fantasy season and a disappointing fantasy stretch for Tony Pollard, but the bottom line is, Barry, this is a pretty nice matchup where the Cowboys are expected to steamroll the Giants.
Pollard managers are down bad, to your point. You're very kind, but let's be clear. That Tony Pollard, while it has been inconsistent, this year when he sees more than 15 touches, he's averaging 18.6 fantasy points per game. Teams that face the Giants are averaging 27 running back touches a game. So we feel pretty good about the fact that Tony Pollard's going to get at least 15 touches against the New York Football Giants. And every running back that's seen at least 15 touches against the Giants has scored a touchdown. So if Tony Pollard can't get it going against the G-Men, I don't know what to tell you, but I have him as a top 5 play. He's a love. We talked about this yesterday. The line 16.5, the Cowboys minus 16.5, and I don't think that's nearly big enough. I think again, Tommy DeVito against a red-hot Dak Prescott, it's not fair. The Cowboys' defense is elite. Dak is playing really well. The Giants' defense is going to be overmatched in this one. They should be up and big in getting Tony Pollard going in the second half.
Yeah, so the line for this game on Sunday night opened as Cowboys minus 15.5, and I messaged the buddy saying, this is surely way too low. And then he replied saying, I don't know. I don't know how to contextualize lines and being way too low when it gets like 15.5, 16.5, but it's so hard to see the Giants staying within 20 in this game with Tommy DeVito and what they've shown.
Yeah. No passing.
And how the Cowboys are playing on offense themselves.
Yes, that's the other thing. They beat earlier in the season when the Cowboys offense stunk. They beat this line. They matched it, and that was with Daniel Jones. Yep. And now you've got Tommy DeVito. Listen. Tommy DeVito, like me, is a Syracuse guy. I'm rooting for him, but let's be clear. So far, it does not look like he's ready for prime time.
No, and Tony Pollard in that first game was, even though he only had the 14 carries, still went for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Next one on the love list, Breece Hall on Sunday Night Football against the Las Vegas Raiders. Jay, Breece comes in as RB8 for Barry this week. It's been a tough go for the Jets offense with Zach Wilson, but if you're looking for any positives from a fantasy perspective, Breece Hall's volume has officially moved over to being the guy. They've kind of passed away the Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter experience. Hall leads this backfield.
Definitely. I think the key thing for him is he just looks explosive. He always looks like he's on the verge of breaking one, even in a hopeless situation. And I think that after what happened against the Chargers, they're going to try and avoid Zach Wilson dropping back as much as possible and putting him in the sight lines of Max Crosby. I think they will try and run the ball, screen passes to Breece. I think through volume alone that he'll provide value, but I don't trust the efficiency just with that line.
No, it's fair. But, I think they will try to get him in space and try to use him in the passing game as well. And not only to the fact of they want to try to protect Zach and the offensive line is a disaster, and that's one strength of the Raiders. This is how you attack Las Vegas. They're bad against the run. In a game in which the Giants couldn't do anything, Saquon still had over 100 yards against them last week. 2 weeks ago, we saw Jahmyr Gibbs have his complete breakout game against the Raiders. This is what they're averaging. Their average is over 150 yards from scrimmage to opposing running backs. As you mentioned, no Dalvin Cook, no Michael Carter. They're not really involved. This should be a huge game for Breece Hall, who is averaging 20 touches a game over the last 4. Again, running backs who have gotten at least 18 touches against Las Vegas are averaging 19.5 fantasy points per game. You mentioned it. He's my RB8. He makes the love list. Again, love list is all about exceeding expectations, and my belief is that the expectations on Breece and the entire Jets offense is down because of what we had to witness last week, but I think better days are ahead.
Yep.
Our next one here, Aaron Jones.
For everyone except for Connor Rogers, who's going to have to talk about this game afterwards.
Yeah,
extensively.
Well, the problem is,
90
too,
minutes.
is that I think it's Bills and Dolphins after this for the Jets, right? So if they don't win this game,
yes,
it's big
Bills,
trouble.
Dolphins on Black Friday.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to
be probably
5-8 if you don't win this one.
So
this is a must-win for the Jets.
It's a big game, no doubt. Our next one here, Aaron Jones, coming off a week where he had a season-high 24 touches. That was the most, by the way, since week 10 of last season. Now he's got the Steelers, Barry.
Hey, hang on. And what did he do last week when he got the 24 touches? Did he have a monster game?
He produced.
Yes! This is what happens when you free Aaron Jones. When you hashtag free Aaron Jones, he produces. It's not that hard. Why is it hard? It doesn't seem that hard to coach in the NFL. Hey, you're at the goal line. You need a touchdown. Give it to Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Did you see the quote from Arthur Smith? By the way, yes, and I'm turning a love on Aaron Jones into me.
Hate on Arthur Smith.
Hate on Arthur Smith. But again, Arthur Smith was like, yeah, we need to be better in the red zone. I'm not really sure what's going on. Like, yeah, it's a puzzler when you're giving jet sweeps to Jonnu Smith instead of, Bijan Robinson, who everyone agrees is like one of the elite running back prospects of the last decade. Yeah, it's a mystery.
Why run the ball with Aaron Jones when you can throw to Dontavian Wicks?
I mean, exactly. Coaching isn't that hard.
No.
It doesn't feel like it is. Like, I coach my daughter's basketball team.
Here we go.
Right? And I'm not saying 12 and under girls basketball is the same as the NFL.
It kind of implies you are a little bit.
But I will tell you that some of the principles still apply. Because you know what I do? You know what I do with these 12-year-old and under girls? I play my best players. Now, listen, it's participation. Everyone gets to play and that kind of stuff. We only had 7 girls, so it's a tight rotation. But you know what? It's not that. We went undefeated. We won the title last year. We literally didn't lose a game. And you know why? Because when it came down to crunch time, I'd be like, Josie, you got the ball. Everyone get the ball to Josie. Because Josie's our best player. That's right.
Shades of Michael Malone last night in the Nuggets game saying that minutes are not a charity. I'm not a charity.
No!
Play Justin Holiday.
No! Aaron Jones, your best player. Free Aaron Jones. Anyway, I'm at running back 12.
Josie.
Yeah, free Josie.
Right?
Josie's been free, though.
No, yeah. Josie is free.
She's running free.
Josie's my tallest girl. She was great in the paint. Yes, we fed Josie. Yeah. What are you talking about? I ran a 2-3 zone because you know what? 12-year-old girls don't know how to shoot over a 2-3 zone. So I just said, all right, Josie, you're there. Sophia, you're there. We had 2 Sophias. Sophia, you're there. Samantha and Brooke, you're up top. Yeah. Here's what we're doing. Yeah, and Grace, when you come in, you're sliding over there. Yeah, I had a whole thing. Yeah, you don't understand. Undefeated. We went undefeated. I'm just telling you.
Because apparently you had Victor Wembanyama and Josie just patrolling the paint.
Yeah, she's a tall girl. Anyway, back to Aaron Jones. Okay. Steelers have allowed the 5th most receptions per game. I'm sorry. Steelers have allowed the 5th most yards per reception to running backs. He's had over a 16% target share the last 3 weeks as well. He's 5 targets every game. He's coming off of a game where he's very productive, came out of it healthy. I'm as a top 12 play against the Steelers. Free Aaron Jones. Free Aaron Jones. Coach like I coached Josie. Damn it.
Take notes, Matt LaFleur. Some others receiving votes here. Javonte Williams, he's got the Bills. He comes in as a top 20 play. Najee Harris against the Packers, RB22. How about that, Jay? Tyler Algier and Antonio Gibson round out this list as well. Jay, take the floor. Najee Harris, top 22 running back.
Najee Harris, yes. Steelers 3-point favorites. Their offensive line. That was the first time I've seen space for a Steelers running back in so long against the Titans. The Titans, which still have a good run defense. Najee Harris with Broderick Jones playing a little bit more, Connor. He looks like it's solid kind of pick for me at the end of the 6th round.
Play your first round picks, by the way.
I literally wrote in my column, my Love Hate column, which will be out very soon for free, as always, on rotoworld.com. But so Najee Harris is part of the others receiving votes, and I literally wrote, please no one tell Jay Croucher, but
no one
since week 3, he's averaging 16 touches a game. He's had 3 straight games with at least a 12% target share. He's going against the Packers, to your point, right? They are favored here. Like, Najee Harris could be usable, certainly this week. I like Javonte Williams, who's had 48 touches over the past 2 games. He's coming off the bye, so should be fully healthy and back and ready. Playing the Bills, they've really struggled defensively. They're top 5 in terms of highest yards per carry allowed to opposing running backs. Tyler Algier. Look, we all think Arthur Smith should use Bijan Robinson, but just because what we think doesn't mean what he's going to do. I actually do think Bijan, after all the press and everything like that, I do think, especially against Arizona, he has a big game here. But it's worth noting that Tyler Algier has out-touched Bijan Robinson in the red zone this year, 26-12.
It's insanity.
They used the 8th overall pick on this guy. And Tyler Algier in the red zone, in crunch time, when you need to get into the end zone, Tyler Algier, 26 touches. Bijan Robinson, your 8th overall pick, 12. Anyway, teams facing the Cardinals average a league-high 26 running back rushes per game. I think both guys get a lot. You're already starting Bijan, but I do think Algier is a viable flex. And Antonio Gibson, Commanders are underdogs in a big way on the road at Seattle, and so as they've been so pass-heavy, Gibson got a season-high 11 touches last week. He's had back-to-back games with 5 receptions. He's more of a floor play than an upside play, but I do think given game script against the Seahawks, he's a viable PPR flex this week.
Yep. Last thing on Najee Harris. I know we're Kevin O'Connell Coach of the Year men. He's our horse. I'd like to add another man into the carriage, so to speak. I'm not sure that really works, but anyway, Mike Tomlin, if
Yeah.
he wins, all of a sudden that team somehow is 6-3. He's 22-1 to win Coach of the Year, and they're plus 850 to win the division. If he wins the division, with
has to
Lamar
win Coach of the
Jackson
Year.
and Joe Burrow, then he has to win Coach of the Year.
has to.
So 22-1 doesn't reconcile with plus 850 to win the division.
I don't know the answer to this, and I should, but has he ever won Coach of the Year?
He's
I don't
never
think he
finished
has.
top 5.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me.
It's completely
insane to me. I mean, like, he is so good, and maybe it's because, and it's weird because the media loves him. Like, he's really good in front of a crowd. Like, he's a really great, he's a charismatic guy.
He was
but
just
maybe
on juggernaut teams and teams that, they won the Super Bowl, and so greatness was expected. It's like how Andy Reid is never in this conversation, but now he doesn't have, Super Bowl MVP
Right.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Right,
type,
no.
But now he's got Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I mean, I think
think
because
Ben
the
ever
Steelers
actually
have
won.
been so good for so long, and he took over for Cowher, and they were just like, he probably doesn't get credit
That's
as
the
much
key.
as he should.
This
But
year he
anyone that's ever followed Antonio Brown on social media should understand what a genius Mike Tomlin is, because no one knew what they were dealing with AB when he was in Pittsburgh. That was kept under wraps.
Any of it.
That was kept under wraps, and then he leaves Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden, like, there's a lot to unpack there.
It's really one of the more remarkable things of our
He
life.
should get Leighton Coach of the Year votes for that.
He
for
really
Antonio
should.
Brown.
They should go back and redo. Anyway, I'm with you. Mike Tomlin is I don't understand how he's never been like top 3, because he is a great coach.
Yep.
He's unbelievable. And to your point, he's done a great job with nothing this year.
Yep, 22-1.
Let's take a look at the running back hate list. This is headlined by Gus Edwards.
You know what? He's like me. He's like, I mean, honestly, he's a better coach than me, because I mean, I had Josie,
Right, yeah.
I had
You had
Sophie,
star talent.
I had star talent.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
doing this with
With Kenny Pickett.
with smoke and mirrors.
You did
He
try to
missed-
victory lap your scheme, though.
Yeah,
You're like, 2-3 zone.
I'm just telling you, anyone out there that's coaching young kids, like, again, if they
TJ Watt. TJ Watt is his Josie.
I just
I believe that comparison's been made a
I would
lot.
say both of the two Sophias were also really good too.
Okay.
Like I kind
they're
of
like
had twin
Cam Hayward
Taros.
and Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. Like on the wings. Yeah, Sophia was the fastest girl in the league. So we ran a lot of fast break stuff with her. All right. Anyway, yeah.
Transition team over
Yeah,
here.
we were transition.
GPS on Sophia.
First day of the league, I said to the guy that runs the league administrator, I said, like, is there any rules on defense? And they said, well, you can't, you have to let them bring it up. You can't
full
press.
court press.
There's no full court. You can't full court press.
Very
Yeah,
devastating.
you can't full court press. You got to let them bring it up. You can't play defense. And I said, that's the only rule? And they're like, yeah. I said, I can play a zone? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, done. Yeah. I went to Syracuse. Of course, we're doing the 2-3 zone.
Yeah, modern
course.
day Nick Nurse over here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying.
guess
We
Nick
went
Nurse is modern
undefeated.
day,
The
so-
results speak for themselves.
Yeah, okay.
The results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm like the Belichick of under 12 girls basketball.
There we go.
He's about to get fired.
Yeah, his tenure's up. Back to Gus Edwards, who is on the hate list. Listen, he's got Cleveland this week. We know how touchdown reliant Gus Edwards is, although that's been working. But Barry, he comes in as RB24 for you this week against that Browns defense.
Yeah, I mean that's the concern, right? Obviously, you don't love the matchup here 2 times. The Browns have allowed a rushing touchdown to an opposing running back only twice this year. That's tied for 3rd fewest in the NFL. I have to believe, and this is somebody who has a lot of Lamar Jackson, so I have to believe regression is coming here. He hasn't been throwing any touchdown passes. They've been so good on the ground. 17 of the Ravens' 27 touchdowns this year are running touchdowns. You have to believe something is coming here through the air as well. That rushing touchdown rate is 63%. The previous 3 seasons, it's been below 50%. Now, I get it. It's Todd Monken this year, whereas before it wasn't. But still, I have to believe positive touchdown regression is coming to the passing game here as well. If Gus Edwards doesn't get into the end zone, he averages under 6 fantasy points per game. He is touchdown dependent. And seeing the emergence of Keaton Mitchell last week and Justice Hill still getting them work, so maybe suddenly this is a 3-headed monster. So anyway, I'm just nervous about him against the Browns, who don't give up a lot of touchdowns, and if he doesn't score, he's not that good because he has no passing game involvement. Gus Edwards is running back 24 for me this week. And in that same game, just to quickly, against Baltimore, Jerome Ford also makes the hate list. Look, in 2 games since his ankle injury, he's averaging under 3 yards per carry. He's had just 81 yards on 29 carries. Over the last 4 weeks, Kareem Hunt's out-touched Ford 12-2 in the red zone. He's not getting the red zone work as well. Baltimore top 10 in terms of fewest fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs since week 6. So Jerome Ford outside my top 25.
Browns also 6.5-point dogs in that game. And I like the Ravens at 6.5. I mean, the 2 good teams that the Ravens have played lately, the Lions and the Seahawks, I think are in the same zone as the Browns. They've beaten both by 30. They've eviscerated them. So I think the Ravens are just a juggernaut, and I don't see Cleveland keeping up with them.
It does feel like people are sleeping on Baltimore, as insane as that sounds, because it feels like people are just like, Seattle sucks. Like they see games like that and they're just like, whatever. Seattle had a bad day at the office, like whatever. Like they're just not getting credit. You're right, for just like, Seattle's a good team.
Yeah.
Seattle's a good team, and they destroyed them.
They beat Detroit like 38-6.
That was the giveaway game.
Detroit's good. Yeah. It's
It
unbelievable.
started to finally trend. I know that Baltimore opened the week, I think, at about 12-1 Super Bowl, and that's gone down to 8-1. So, but it's still been a slow trickle. Like people weren't buying it for a while, and everyone's like, wait a second.
People realize like Baltimore is like way better than Miami. Like Baltimore's
way
a different
better.
class.
Yes.
And I don't think that's completely registered yet.
Yeah, what are the Super Bowl odds in the AFC? I would assume Kansas City is still the favorite.
Kansas City will
and
be
then probably Cincinnati and Miami are rising up there. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore's fourth. I haven't looked at this.
They think now they're number 2.
Now
right?
they've flipped, but they're still in the same. They're plus 450 to win the AFC. The Bengals are 6-1. The Dolphins are 6-1. Like there should be more separation with the Ravens from those teams. Like the Ravens are heavy favorites to win their division. The Bengals are bigger than plus 300 just to win their own division.
Right.
So they're in trouble there, and they'll have to go on the road 3 times most likely.
Yeah.
Go Ravens.
Our final
go
one
Ravens.
on the hate list here, Jay, Chuba Hubbard. He's got the Bears tonight on Thursday Night Football. And for all the Chicago's problems in the secondary, it's been a bit of the opposite against running backs. And now they add Montez Sweat to that front.
I don't understand it, but Chicago have the number 1 most efficient run defense in the NFL. It's just bizarre, but that's just how it is at the moment. Their secondary is terrible, and that's how you exploit them. But I don't think Carolina's going to be able to run the ball because no one's able to run the ball in Chicago.
Yeah, they've been really good there, and also I think it's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in the fact like why do we're not going to try to run because we don't need to because their secondary is so bad. So some of those metrics, but you're right. I mean, like for whatever, regardless of the reason, the fact of the matter is over the last month, no team in the NFL has allowed fewer rushing yards per game than the Chicago Bears. Hubbard, by the way, is averaging just 3.4 yards per carry, and I also feel like on the road on a short week. Like maybe we saw Miles Sanders play a little bit more last week than he did the week before, and now Thursday night, quick turnaround, the game's in Chicago. So you feel like maybe Sanders gets even more work tonight, try to take a little bit of the load off of Hubbard. He's my running back 30 this week. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.